Let's go. It's your host, Nick Perrette, and you're listening to Commercial Roofing Radio. This is the hottest radio station in the roofing world. We are your favorite place to hang out, learn, and shoot the shit. So sit back in your truck's chair, relax, and enjoy the show. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Commercial Roofing Radio. Let's go. We're back. We got another great guest in the house. We have Dante here with us, man. If you guys haven't seen him, he used to work for RoofCon, roofing.com. He spent about 2 years there. So he's connected with a lot of contractors, a lot of roofing companies, seen a lot of great things that they have done. I'm sure we'll talk about that. He's got a lot of experience in marketing. That's actually kind of his background in terms of where he kind of got started. He is now the CEO of Roofers LLC in South Carolina. Excuse me. And he's also participating in 100 Mile June, in which runners get pledges to donate $1 per mile to benefit adoptions, aiming to raise $30,000 overall to help at least one family adopt a child. So that's pretty cool. He is also recently just started his own podcast, so he's really getting involved there as well. So I'm sure we'll talk about that. But today we'll be really talking about running towards your dreams, right? Whether that's in personal, if it's in business, whatever it might be. So Diego, what's going on, my friend?
What's up, my man? Stoked to be here.
Absolutely. We appreciate you joining us today, no doubt. So that's your background, hey? So you're also a marketing guy, just like me.
Yeah, so I guess I started marketing back in high school, and I didn't actually even know what marketing was at the time. A lot of my friends were playing in like different like rock bands and stuff like that back in like the late 2000s, and so I started like promoting little local shows. And so I started like, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but I was like putting together flyers and promoting these shows, and they paid me like, a couple bucks a head or something like that for people that would show up to these little shows. And once I got into, I guess, after, once I was an adult, I didn't really know that was a thing that people got paid for, that marketing was a thing. And I probably actually heard the word marketing for the first time in my early 20s. And then from there, like, I was like, oh, like I know what that is. I've been doing that. And then kind of, worked my way into a marketing job. And, that's kind of how I got my foot in the door with marketing. But I've actually been doing, I started, my dad was in construction. I'm a first generation immigrant. So my family moved here from Uruguay, and my dad, went into construction. And so, I worked a lot. I worked with him and kind of realized that wasn't for me. And so decided to, I was like, I'm going to go into business. I didn't know what that was. At the time, it was just kind of seemed like the thing. It was like you either go into the trades or you go into a business, and it's just from my worldview, that's the only thing I knew. My parents didn't go to college or anything, so that was just what I knew. And so from there, like once I went to I started going to school for business. I actually went I got my associate's degree, and it was going to be one of those things where like you got your associates and then you transferred into a 4-year college. And while I was in school, I had the company I was working for at the time, they needed a marketing person, and I kind of BS'd my way into letting me have that job, and maybe over-exaggerated certain things in my resume, and somehow landed with a marketing job and truly had no idea what I was doing. And I did that for like 6-7 years, and so from there kind of fell into the roofing industry, and kind of everything else is kind of in the books, I guess. So.
Yeah. So, you fell into the roofing industry, right? So you started working for Cornerstone, I believe, and then you started working for roofing.com and RoofCon. What was it like working for, roofing.com, RoofCon, where before, because now you're CEO of a roofing company, what was it like to get, learn from all those people, just be, surrounded by, growth-minded contractors and all, what did you take from that you're taking into the company you're running now?
Yeah, so it's interesting because, so when I started at Cornerstone probably had like, seven or eight sales reps. And shortly after I started, that was really when, they started to take off. And that year that I started in January with Cornerstone. And like after, that year they went from like 3 million to like 15 million. And so I was on the ground and was able to see, that growth and what it took to get there. And just having that, everyone there had the mentality of like, you go out and like signing 3 deals a day wasn't that big of a deal. And, certain things that I thought was normal, that, kind of going out into the roofing industry and seeing how other people do it, just, I see that I was in an environment that was, above average, with culture too, and, performance. And like we had a hailstorm, and that year we hadn't had a hailstorm prior to that, a couple of years. And so we got hit with a hailstorm, and I remember that like the day after the hailstorm, we went out and we signed 100 contracts. And that was huge for, nice. Again, just for, noticing what it is that you can do. But yeah, I think the biggest thing was just seeing how a big company like that runs, seeing the back end of it. And obviously me and Hunter are good friends. And so I was picking his brain a lot on why he was doing certain things and all that stuff. And so, but also, seeing what worked and what didn't work, and what, going forward after that, what were the things that, in my mind, the things that maybe they could have improved or whatever else. And so, I don't know, I feel like I definitely had a good, it was really good being able to see that, and helping me to where I am now.
Why do you think, there was a culture that was established where, hey, you go close 3 deals and that's just not really a big deal, because that's what we do here, right? We win, we make plays, right? We make it happen. It seems like that was the atmosphere. How did that kind of get going? Like, what was feeding that?
I think it was just a competitive environment. I think just everyone's competitive, but everyone was competitive with themselves, and everyone wanted to help each other. And so that's one of the big things that I've learned, is just like, everyone's cheering each other on, right? So, and that's something that I'm trying to do here too, is like, whenever we celebrate each other's wins. If someone needs help with a job or whatever, like, we're helping each other with those types of things. But the competition's like with ourselves, right? So we're trying to improve where we were at a month before. If I signed 8 deals last month, I want to sign 12 deals the next month, and whatever, right? And having extreme accountability as well of, everyone knows where everyone is, and everyone's helping each other, to get to the next level. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, competitive. Oh, and I completely agree. And I think competitive, I bet it was competitive. I bet it wasn't. I bet that drastically had a big impact. But I think the accountability was a big one. And, also just, helping each other out was the one that really stood out to me. Why was everybody helping each other out? Right? Because, hey, you go to some companies and it's, hey, this is my role. This is what I do. I'm not getting paid to do this. Why were people helping each other out? How did that come about?
Well, it's funny because my first sales meeting when I started in roofing, they asked me, they pulled me up to the front and they said, what are the things? They started asking me about my goals. And so some of those goals were, I want to make X amount of dollars. I want to, be able to pay off debt. I wanted to buy, there are monetary things at the time, because that's just, what I was used to. I guess the culture that I was bringing out was just, I'm here to make money, But then they started asking me what my personal goals were as well, and so they asked me, what are some of the things that you want to do in your personal life? And I was like, I hadn't even started thinking about that. I guess some of that was like donate to adoption. Some of that was to lose weight. Some of that was to XYZ, right? And so then there was a level of accountability to reaching your personal goals too, which is something that at first I saw it as kind of weird of like, why do they care so much about what I'm doing outside of this office, But after a while, it was very, it set the standard, right, of, what it is that we're trying to do here. It's not just that, we all want to make more money so that we can all drive lifted trucks and whatever. Like it's, we're all trying to make a difference in the world, and roofing's just the vehicle to get us there.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that was really well said. Now, what's the, how do you know though, as a company, like for you guys, what was the difference you guys were trying to make? Was it, community involvement? Was everybody kind of on their own mission? Was there certain things that everybody wanted to be, part of? What was that movement?
I think part of it is like you're going to want to have a common mission always, right? What is the thing that everyone is pushing towards to achieve, right? So that could be that you might have a nonprofit that you started or that you're, giving to, or any of those things. For us now at Roofers LLC, it is more individual right now of like, all of us knowing what our individual goals are. And, I've got guys that are, working through certain things in their life that they want to be able to fund and, or be able to buy a house or whatever. And so just now I feel like just at the point that we're at, like we are really focused on the individuals, and helping each other and just pulling each other and really keeping each other accountable so that every person can reach that individual goal. I think you definitely get to a point in your company where you do want to have some sort of common mission there. And again, that could be for me, obviously now, 100 Mile June is my big thing that I focus on every year, but, cause I'm just huge into adoptions. Both of my kids are adopted. And so for me, like that's just a huge thing. I just want to, and so I try to bring in as many people possible to get bought into my common mission as well, right? But if for any other company listening, like maybe your company is really big into like helping vets or helping, kids with leadership or helping whatever it is, right? Find a common mission and then work together to be able to achieve those things. And like, hey, we're donating X amount of revenue or profit to this cause. And then from there, when someone in the team's not pulling their weight, you have a common mission to be able to push each other to.
There's a couple of things there. I want to talk about accountability, right? But first, let's talk about 100 Mile June. So what's 100 Mile June, and why is that so important to you?
It's basically the most miserable month of the year. And so it came about because last year I was I was at a retreat in Gatlinburg, and we were there with some of our clients and just people in the roofing industry. And for a while, I've been thinking about this, how, just trying to find a purpose in, for myself. And one thing that I've been talking about for a long time is like this, when we adopted my son, I said to myself, like, this is really expensive to adopt. And so I said to myself, I'd love to just get to the point where I have so much money that I can just write up a check and just be able to pay someone's adoption, right? And then while I was in Tennessee, I had this thought of like, I have a pretty big network, and I'm sure we could figure something out to where, we could come up with some sort of fundraiser to be able to do that, even if I'm not at the point right now where we can, where I can't stroke up a check right now, like, and that's something I'm working towards. Like, there's not a reason why, I couldn't start working on this right now. And so, simultaneously, this is while I was, last year I lost a good amount of weight. And so every month it was like we were doing a different challenge, right? So we did a month where we did the Murph a bunch of times. And we had like this burpee challenge where we did 3,100 burpees in a month. We had all these challenges, right? And so one of the challenges just that I came up with, I was like, well, we could do like a 5K a month, or one 5K a day. And I was looking at the month of June, and I was like, okay, that's 93 miles. If we did a 5K every month, I was like, let's just round it up and just 100-mile June. Boom. I literally wrote up or I bought the domain like on the spot. I made a logo. I had it like ready to go within 30 minutes. Because I was like, people are going to buy into this 100%. Well, then I kind of just stored it away, and I didn't think anything of it. And then June started getting closer, and I was like, there was this part of my mind that was like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like, it just sounds miserable the more and more I think about it, right? And so then I got to the end of May, and we were doing the Murph challenge, and I did the Murph on Memorial Day, on the last day of May. And I remember just being so exhausted and just being dead. And I was like, and I went to, I ended up my Murph at Veteran Memorial that was there. And I just thought about it, and I was like, man, I gotta make this happen on the last day of May. And so I literally went on Facebook, and I posted a photo of my kids, and I posted a sob story, and I was like, trying to get people bought into what I was doing, right? I was like, man, I know it's the last day of the month, but like this would like mean a lot to me if you guys would, participate in 100-mile June. Well, it exploded. I had like 250 shares on it, and wow. I had a bunch of comments, a lot of like weirdly like a lot of negative comments on it too. But really, had like 50 something people that ran, and had like 100 people that donated. We were able to help 4 kids become adopted last year. Wow. And so that's how it started. And I didn't, and so then from there on, like this year, I was like, well, I can't not do it again. It's one of these things, like now it's just got to become a thing. And so I'm like 60 miles deep right now into 100-mile June. And we'll see how long we keep it going. But I mean, the big thing is, right now it's just helping, get the word out more than anything of like there are kids that need to become adopted. It's really expensive. There's a lot of fees that go into it. And so if we can raise some money and just help a couple, few kids that need to become adopted, then we're going to do it.
Dude, let's go, man. That is awesome. I absolutely love that. And so that brings me to my, actually, how can people donate too? Let's not forget that. What's the best way to donate if they just wanted to make a donation as well?
Yeah, so 100milejune.com. You just go in there and you can donate straight through there. 100milejune.com.
Perfect, man. Make sure you guys check that out. Donate. Great cause. Crush those miles, my man. Go get it. But that brings me to my next thing, actually, too. You know, speaking of running, fitness, tell us a little bit about the weight loss journey that you went on. What was that all about? You know, I want to hear about it mentally, though. Like, what was that like for you mentally, and how did that change you as a person?
Yeah, so there's a part of me that, like, my biggest one of the problems is I literally I'm not the type of person that just like looks in the mirror and like kind of feels bad about myself or anything like that. And so that almost kind of hindered me because I kind of got to the point where I was, you know, very overweight and I needed to lose weight. But I, you know, like I said, I wasn't looking at myself like that, you know, telling myself that I needed to. And, basically, one day I just kind of came to the realization that I just was dealing with a lot of, you know, stress and anxiety and just using eating to kind of cope with that. And so, you know, kind of once I made that realization, it was just a matter of like, okay, well, so if I'm almost treating this like an addiction, like I'm not, you know, binge drinking or doing drugs or anything, but obviously I'm treating food like an addiction. And so, I started treating it like one, and I literally just, you know, kind of quit eating because that was just my thing. I was like, all right, well, then all I got to do is quit eating when I'm emotional, right? So just find something else that I, you know, tackle it with something else. And so that way I started thinking, all right, well, started doing a lot of mind searching of like, all right, I'm about to eat at this point, but it's because I'm stressed out or because of this. And so the you know, the workouts and all that stuff, obviously that helped, but really it was just mainly that, just kind of treating it like an addiction. And then I lost 50 pounds in 5 months, you know, mainly just from, like I said, just kind of just being more mindful and just being more, just thinking about what I'm, you know, that I'm eating as a reaction or anything like that. So.
Yeah, man. Well, good. Well, congratulations, man. You're looking good, crushing it, man. Really proud of you. Definitely inspirational there. I do want to talk about though when you were at, you know, these conferences and stuff like that. You were putting together these conferences. I mean, what was that like? I mean, what was, you know, getting, you know, making sure you get enough people to come, getting your speakers lined up, getting the sponsors, you know, making sure that the conference centers are right. I mean, what did you learn putting an event together like that?
Yeah. So did you go to the first RoofCon, the first big one in 2020?
I think I went to the first big one. I did. Yep. Yeah,
so that was the first one that I was involved with. So I'll give you a little bit of an idea of how this happened. So obviously, you know, Hunter put together first RoofCon in Nashville in 2019. He had about 50, 60 people there. It was more a workshop than anything. And had a great response from it. And so I kind of picked, you know, he knew I was on his team at Cornerstone and he knew that I had experience in marketing. And so he hit me up and we kind of started talking about it. And you know, he was like, hey, man, I really want to take this thing to the next level, but I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to, you know, putting together conferences. I was like, all right, well, let's do it. And so he brought me on as a first full-time employee. And then like 2 weeks later, he was hiring someone on to be his executive assistant, and she happened to have experience like putting together events. And so we hired her, and between me and her, like she was putting together the conference, I was getting vendors and filling up seats. And it's so funny because at first, like, we didn't have experience doing anything that big. But we had like four months left maybe at that time to put it together. And so the first thing that I did was I went in one of the roofing groups. I was like, hey, I've got some T-shirts and they're free. And so if you want a T-shirt, basically let me know. And it's so funny because the people that raise their hands, I have like a screenshot of it. The people that raised their hand or left me an emoji or whatever are people that are now friends of mine that I ended up sending stuff to. It was like Phil Sanov, Graham Desert, Chuck Toki, and someone else. And so I got on the phone with all. So they told me that they wanted a T-shirt, and I ended up. This is such a funny story. So first person I hit up was Phil Sanov, Morgan & Morgan, and I hit him up, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I just get on a phone call with you? I would just want to tell you about this event we got going on. And I'm 90% sure we had not actually signed the contract with the NRG Center that we did the conference with in Houston at the time. So I get on a call with Phil. I'm like, hey, Phil, I appreciate, you want a T-shirt and, just letting you know, like, just trying to find out more about you, whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'm the trial lawyer with Morgan & Morgan. And I'm like, Morgan & Morgan, where have I heard that name before? Where do I know that? He's like, yeah, we're the largest law firm in the country, basically. I was like, oh, okay. So, like, basically pitched him on a sponsorship. And he's like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, I love what you guys are doing. I think he had actually been to the 2019 RoofCon, but I didn't know that at the time. And so ended up getting this first sponsorship with Morgan & Morgan. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, we got a sponsor. So we got a signed contract on this conference. And then from there, ended up getting like 50 sponsors. And it was so scary because we were like a month out. And I'm pretty sure we only had like 20 tickets. Like, we had sold out our sponsorships, but we only had like 20 tickets that were out or something like that. And we were terrified because it was the middle of COVID. This was 2020. And no one wanted to buy tickets because no one knew if the conference was going to happen. And so the last 2 weeks, we ended up filling up. Not fully filling up, but we had, I think our max was 1,000, and we ended up, I think the total number of tickets was 881. But we were doing everything. We did all the things that we knew we needed to do. We were doing, the Facebook ads. We were doing the affiliate codes. We were doing the everything. And we knew it was going to work out. But even at the end, like, it was getting close, and we didn't have like any tickets sold. And yeah, it just kind of ended up, it was truly like, it was like God was just knowing that we'd put in all the work, and like, it was so funny. It was like, it just worked out right at the end. And then from there, I ended up like hiring a team, like a full team. And we put together RoofCon, the one that happened last year in 2021. And it was amazing, man. We brought like John Maxwell and Ed Milet and all this stuff. And one of the big things that we thought was going to be an issue, if anyone remembers who came out, like we had a big sound issue in 2020. And we didn't know that because we'd never thrown a conference that big before. There was a lot of things that we didn't know, and we thought, man, I was terrified that was going to be like, that everyone was going to talk about that. But everyone, besides a couple people on Facebook, everyone was just talking about like how positive it was and all this stuff and how well put together it was. In 2021, like, we knew what we had done wrong, or, we knew the things that we learned from our mistakes on the first one. And we just threw what I think was the best conference in the industry in 2021, and had like just shy of 3,000 people there. But yeah, man, it was incredible. Learned a lot. I've made a lot of industry connections from that, and that's been huge, man. And I think ultimately, like, all that contributed to, me getting called up by this company and, getting offered this job and but yeah, to answer your question, it was an incredible journey, man. And it was it was some of the most impactful times that, professionally for sure.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, you guys crushed it, and so I got a couple follow-up questions on that one. And the first one was, it says, hey, it's like, hey, I gotta get butts in the seats, right? I need tickets sold, and it felt like at the very end everything just kind of came together. Obviously, you guys did a variety of different marketing techniques. Was there anything that you guys did that you felt like it was like, hey, this was our best way to sell tickets?
I think that the best thing was building a brand for ourselves. I think that there was a void in the industry of, I think a lot of what was happening in the industry, without calling out any names, was a lot of partying, a lot of that stuff. And we just really wanted to brand ourselves differently as like a place to go to learn, and you weren't going to get pitched, and we were there to truly make a difference, and it was the whole integrity, leadership, and legacy. So yeah, I mean, I think ultimately probably like Facebook ads, really, like most of our stuff came from that. Most of our tickets came from that. But I don't think that would have happened as well if we would have just been just a cheap knockoff of everything else that was happening. I think we really needed to have a brand that separated us from what everyone else was doing. And I think we did a really good job with that.
Yeah, no, you guys did an awesome job with that for sure. It was an incredible conference. We were there. We were one of the sponsors at it. It was really well done. The other thing is what did you take away from all the contractors there? Because it's funny because now you're the CEO, right, of a well-established roofing company in South Carolina now, right? But prior to this, you were setting up conferences where literally you'd be having all the best contractors in the industry coming to attend or speak at these events. So what did you pull from that? Like, what was it? Was it mentorship? Was it just knowledge and information from just having conversations with them? Was it building your, like, I got to think that must have been one of the best ways to tee you up to be ready for, this type of position.
Yeah, I think there was a level of looking at what was working for certain people. So like I got to spend a lot of time with just two different things that we did. We got to spend a lot of time with people that were doing just incredible things, right? So like I'll throw an example out. Like we got to spend a lot of time with Brian Ward. I don't know if you know Brian, but Brian is out of Pensacola and he runs a really big operation there, like $30 million, I think. And getting to spend time with people like that and seeing how they do it. People like Chuck Toki, I think I'd already talked about him before, but like I spent a lot of time with Chuck, did a lot of Zoom calls with him, and seeing the way that they did it, and spending time with everyone who's, I feel like, a big contractor in the industry. I got to spend a lot of time with, got to see how they were doing things. Got to see what their pain points were. Got to see how they got to where they're at, and so that definitely gave me a lot of insight on, more on the knowledge side of like, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do, this is like how you scale a company, But I think that ultimately, I don't know that. I think ultimately, like, just having people see the results of what it is that you do, that probably gave me more credibility, of like having, putting together a conference out of nothing, or doing stuff like that. Like that probably gave me more confidence than anything. But I think that's one of the things that people saw, kind of when I will say, like, I had quite a few people that reached out to me and wanted me to come work for them throughout my time at roofing.com, and for the most part, and truly, like, all of them, I turned them down. And when I was approached about this company, it just kind of happened at such a crucial time. I just had some books that I had read, like, just right before this had happened and all this stuff, and we just it just ended up, like, just things worked out the way they were supposed to, and yeah, man.
So how has the transition been then to taking over as a leadership role as CEO of Roofers LLC? Obviously you're in a new position. What do you think? How would you describe it?
Challenging. 100%. Like,
amen.
It's extremely challenging. It's just a giant learning curve, man. Because one of the things that I did not have experience with was leading people, and so I've always been just a solo, like a department of one, my entire career, and so that's been the huge thing of, like, how do I lead people? How do I help people get to where they want to be? How do I correct people? How do I, all that stuff? Because I feel like, the marketing side, like, I feel like we're doing really good with that. Like, we're doing pretty good with sales. We're doing pretty good with really good on the operations side. But yeah, it's like the leadership part is just, you don't realize there's just a big learning curve with that when you've never had that experience before.
Yeah, leadership is tough. So when I started my company, so we're 5 years in now. When we first started, I didn't have any management experience. So, everybody that's worked for me has been pretty much a guinea pig for me to try to figure out what the hell I'm doing with leading them to where they want to go. And that's the thing, is like, with leadership, is like, as long as they can tell that you're doing the best you can, and they can tell that you care and you want them to win, that's a good starting point, right? That's a good starting point. And all the stuff you talked about, with the culture that you guys were able to build, right? Accountability, right? Accountability is love. That's always good, and sometimes I think with leadership too is just like, when you get the right people too, I mean, they're easy to lead, right? So it's this. That's always a big thing too, as you keep adding more people. But it's a journey that we're all trying to learn. So it'll be a fun one. But if you enjoy it, it'll be, it's one of those things that's it's worth giving your best at. I'm sure you'll love it.
Yeah, no, and we're doing. I'm in such an interesting spot with this, because it's, a lot of people will go and they'll start their own roofing company. And you have a lot of the pain points that come with that, But for me, coming into a company, like, our company's been around since 1983. So there's so many pros and cons to that, There's so many, like we get so many referrals. That's really good for us, because we've been around forever. We've got our operations down. I've been here for 2 months. We've not had a single QC issue since I started. So operations, we're doing really good. And there's stuff like that. But there's things, when you come into a company that's been around forever, also, things that you got to, you start implementing systems. And it's like, sometimes that's hard, when a company's, if you run a whole company for 40 years without a CRM, and you come in and you're like, all right, well, we're going to have to start, setting this up and start using this, or like, we're going to have to, doing a full rebrand, or we're doing XYZ, some of those things are hard when you're coming into to an established company. But yeah, man, I mean, I think overall, like, I wouldn't trade it for any other way. I think that this is, this is an exciting journey, man, and I'm excited for what, we got a lot of plans, and kind of what the next year looks like for us. I'm super excited about that.
So, with it being a more established company, I think it was 1983, I believe. You come take over the company, right? You're more young, more modern guy. has there been opportunities for you to take that and implement some new technologies and stuff like that? Like you were saying, maybe the CRM or whatever it might be, or has it been they have been pretty up to date already with that stuff?
No, so I came in. First thing that we did was we did a full rebrand. Got new logos, new colors, new everything, and because I was
Let's
like,
go.
it looks rough. I was pretty harsh, and they were cool with it. That I actually did that like 2 weeks before I started, or maybe a week before I started. Like as soon as I accepted the position, I was like, I'm accepting this, but I want y'all to know like we're doing a rebrand now before I even start. And so we did a rebrand. Yeah, CRM. That was a huge piece.
It looks
for
good,
us,
by the way. It looks
setting
good.
up.
See.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, so we're repping the palmetto tree. South Carolina is the palmetto state, so repping the palmetto tree, and so we ended up doing like a new CRM. Because they weren't using a CRM at all. It was all paper contracts, paper everything. So we ended up doing setting up different systems and getting started with, they've been posting on social media, but it was more or less just posting photos here and there. So I was like, okay, let's come up with a strategy for this. Let's, just more strategy and making sure that everything that we're doing has a purpose for why we're doing it. And, make sure that we can track everything, track our calls, track our numbers, track everything, like that's I'm huge on that. So yeah, man. And then also like building out the team also, that's been huge. Like, we've about doubled in size since I started, just bringing in sales staff and looking where to promote and all that, so.
Oh, hey there. You come here often? I feel like I see you every Wednesday. And, you definitely caught my eye. I'll tell you one thing. You know how to stand out from a crowd. You already got a lot of great things going for you. I mean, I see your company. I see what you got going on. I want to be part of it. How about I give you my number and you send me a text? 720-796-4935. Hey, yeah, it's Nick, right? Peakleads.io. I think we can help you generate some commercial roofing leads. Looking forward to chatting. Talk soon. Let's go, man. Well, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Sounds like you're doing a lot of great things. I'm sure we could talk, for days, but man, we're going to go into our next segment, which is going to be a game. But hey, we never did a shout out. I do want to give a shout out, right, to our boy Ben Menchaca. I know that you know him, Diego. So obviously we lost a good one in the space. So give a quick shout out. Maybe go knock a couple doors if you're listening to this and you're a salesperson. In his honor, let's go, right? So R.I.P., my man.
Go take a selfie with your friends, man. That's the big thing I've learned, man. Like, enjoy the guy. I mean, I loved Ben so much, and I always appreciated how much he was. Every time he saw you, he's like, "Hey, man, let's get a selfie." And I wish I had friends or photos with all my friends. That's one thing I've been thinking about. Of like, I need to go take selfies.
That's
with all
a good
my friends,
point,
man.
actually. That is a good call, actually, man. You got to document those memories, man. Amen to that. All right, we're here.
Everyone's posted a photo of themselves with Ben, and that's why, man.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah,
it was at Spanky's, man. We got amaze balls. There's these mac and cheese balls, man, and they were good. They were good.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
They are awesome. All right. So the game is Who Wants to Be a Roofing Millionaire? All right. So you do get 2 lifelines. You get 50-50. So that will remove 2 of the wrong answers, leaving you with a 50% chance of getting it right. And you also have phone a friend. So you can call one person, but if they don't pick up, lifeline's dead. Right. And you can use those one time each. All right. So, question 1. As a longtime South Carolina resident, you got to know a lot about the food. What type of food was born in South Carolina, North South Carolina, according to Minnie? Is it A, boiled peanuts, B, barbecue, C, shrimp and grits, or D, oyster roast?
Okay, so I'm gonna eliminate barbecue. I don't think it's barbecue. So we got boiled peanuts, oyster roast, or what was the third one?
All right. Let's see. We had boiled peanuts, shrimp and grits, and oyster roast.
Shrimp and grits. Ooh. I'm gonna go with boiled peanuts.
So the right answer, according to my findings, is actually going to be barbecue, which is crazy. You said that was going to be the one that would be out right off the bat.
There's
man.
no way.
Hey, if you have to,
I mean, we have great barbecue.
Hey, hold on. So here's the thing. Okay, so if you don't think the answer is right, you got to take it up with my research team. All right. So that's Danae McDermott. You can reach her at Danae at peakleads.io if you have any issues with the answers. Okay.
I would have figured barbecue was like Texas or something. It's like we have great barbecue, but I just would have figured that was too broad. And actually, let me tell you this: like boiled peanuts. They're not that great. I don't know if you ever had them. Everyone loves them here. They're not that great.
I don't know what's the ones at the ball game? What's the roasted ones? The roasted nuts?
Yeah, roasted peanuts.
Those are good.
If you go to a game here,
those
though,
are good.
You can get boiled peanuts too. So.
Oh, really?
But shrimp and grits is where it's at.
I don't know.
Shrimp and grits is where it's at. So.
Shrimp and grits are good. Yeah, I haven't been to South Carolina, so I gotta check it out. All right.
I'll
So
give you a tour,
speaking of food, yeah, man, I'll come on out. But our next one is food related. All right. So you guys seem to love Waffle House. All right. So
yes.
When and where did the first
I can see
Waffle
it from
House
right here too.
open its doors?
Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, well, let's see. Hold on. So you got here. Is it A, 1960 in South Carolina, Beaufort, South Carolina? Is it B, 1965 in Helen, Georgia? Or C, 1955 in Avondale Estates, Georgia? Or D, 1958 in Boone, North Carolina?
It's in Georgia. It's in Atlanta. The question is, which one of those two towns is Atlanta? You said one of them is Helen, and then the other one is what is it? What was the other one? What is Helen and the other one?
AVO.
It's
Avondale? Yep, that is right. That is right. All right, well, you made up for it and got number 2 right. What do you order at Waffle House?
2 eggs breakfast with bacon.
Let's go, dude. That sounds good.
Get with the hash browns.
I love breakfast.
With the hash browns and to stay controversial, I get raisin bread.
Ooh, dude, I actually do like raisin bread. All right, we're going back to roofing. All right, so water damage in roofs is very popular in the South, I'm sure. What percentage of roof damage in the U.S. is directly related to water intrusion? Is it A, 40%? Is it B, 20%? C, 75%? Or D, 10%?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say, it could be 40, but it could be higher too. I mean, I don't think it's not 10. I'm gonna go with 40.
And he's on a hot streak. That's right. That's 2 in a row, man. Oh. All right.
I got this, man. Come on. I'm feeling good, man.
What's the name of your new podcast?
The Palmetto Brand Experience.
The Palmetto Brand Experience. Tell me what's that all about?
Yeah, so I'm bringing on local entrepreneurs, getting to interview them, and I figured it was twofold. There's 2 reasons for it. One, I want to be able to give local. I want to be able to help our local industry here in Greenville to grow, especially with young entrepreneurs. So I want to interview people that are just doing cool things when it comes to brand and just building cool businesses and stuff like that. But then B, like, I need to get out there and do business development, and I think it's the most organic way to do business development, man, and just getting to meet other entrepreneurs. Like, it's way easier for me to say, hey, man, I want to interview you on a podcast than for me to come in and just shake your hand and me just roll up at your business and, someone that you've never met trying to get to know you,
Hey, unbelievable. I think the podcasting, creating content together, stuff like that is one of the best marketing strategies there is in my mind. If you think about it, it's a great way to network, meet new people. It's a great way to use each other's networks, right? To make sure that you guys could have a win-win situation, whatever it might be. It's just a great marketing approach, and I love it, of course. So I'm glad that you did it. But that's going to bring me into my next question, right? So it's named after the palmetto tree, right? Specifically the sable palm, which is your state tree featured on the state flag. Take a wild guess. Do you know what your state flower is? Is it A, flowering dogwood, B, orange blossom, C, iris, or D, yellow jessamine?
Can I use one of my lifelines?
All right, absolutely. Are you going to phone a friend, or do you want to do the 50-50?
How does the 50-50 work?
50-50 removes 2 of the wrong answers, leaving with you a 50% chance of getting the answer correct.
Let's do that.
All right. So it has eliminated A, flowering dogwood, and B, orange blossom, leaving you with 2 answers left: C, iris, and D, yellow jessamine.
I'm going to go with D.
Boom. He's hot again, man. He is on a hot streak. That is correct. Dang, great use of a lifeline. See, that's what I'm looking for right here. Some people never use the lifeline.
Listen, man, you're hitting me with
you guys use it.
You're hitting me with questions about like South Carolina and Waffle House, and come on, man. The things I know about.
Oh my god. All right.
I'm a very
so
proud
here,
resident of South Carolina. I do really enjoy South Carolina.
Yeah, I gotta get out there, man. I gotta get out there for sure. I bet I'd like it. I like the coast. All right.
We'll do a joint vacation. We'll bring you out to Hilton Head.
Let's go. I'm down for that. Count me in. That sounds right up my alley, man. All right, so you're a big meme guy. So you've posted some great memes on Facebook and Instagram. What do you think Complex said was the most popular meme so far this year? Is it A, Super Bowl memes, B, Will Smith slap, C, Uncut Gems, or D, crypto memes?
it's got to be the Will Smith slap. It's got to be.
It is, man. That is, of course, it is. Got to be the Will Smith slap. Amen.
Which I will
What do you
say,
think of
not
the Will
to
Smith slap?
get not
That
to
was- that was
get
a wild one.
controversial, not to get controversial here, but the Biden falling off the bike, I think that one's going to take over. So.
That one was pretty funny. That was just yesterday or 2 days ago, maybe. That was pretty good, man. But hey, it was a pleasure to having you on, man. So the last thing is, I don't know if you saw it in the email, maybe you didn't, because it was the last minute that we sent that over. But we end it with enlightenment. So this is where you either say you give us a life lesson, you can give us a quote, you could give us something to work on. It could be a book suggestion. You hit me, end it with enlightenment, and then we're closing this thing down.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Just be a good person. I think a lot of people just get too into the competitive and, you know, all the stuff. I think we lose sight sometimes of like just being a good person. And I think like all of my t-shirts that I had made for Roofers LLC just say work hard, serve others. Because that's just what I want my guys to just think about. Like, just go out there, just try to make someone's day a little brighter. Just be a good person. And I think it all kind of just comes back to you in the end. You know, I feel like I've been in this stage of my life of just grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding for a very long time. And I feel like, you know, it ultimately, like, no sort of monetary value is going to bring me any sort of, you know, going to make me any happier or anything like that. But I think of like the experiences in my life that have made me the happiest, and most of those revolve around serving other people. And so I think just continue to grind, continue to use your time to serve other people, and I think it all just kind of works out in the end, man.
My man, hey, well said. I believe it too. You got it. Just be a good person. Speaking of which, hey, so make sure you guys are donating to his 100-mile June fundraiser. Diego, we just threw in $100 there, man, for your time. I appreciate you hanging out with us, dude. It's been a pleasure hanging out.
Appreciate it, man.
Out there.
I love that.
Appreciate
Thank you so
listening.
much.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, man.